Hey gamers, welcome back to another Ultimate Breakdown. Today, we're gonna take a deep dive into the skills in Thetan Arena. You already know how we do it on this channel. In-depth breakdowns, walkthroughs, tips and tricks, reviews, and news about all your favorite play-to-earn games. Don't miss out on any of this. Click the subscribe button and turn on notifications because we will keep the content coming. Also, if you're new to Thetan Arena, then you should definitely check out my Thetan Arena playlist. I'll leave a link in the description. Thetan Arena has a number of interesting skills that you can choose from. Currently, there are a total of 22 unique skills in the game. Each player is allowed to equip only 2 skills before every battle. You are also allowed to select only 1 skill from a particular skill class. There are 3 different skill classes in the game, and they are damage, support, and effect. We'll go through each of them, starting with the damage class. First, I would like to mention that certain attributes of every skill can be enhanced depending on how high your selected hero's class is. The classes range from H to SS, and so you can see here that for this particular skill, the cooldown and damage continue to improve as your hero climbs the trophy class. This is a way to reward players who are masters of a particular hero. It is definitely not easy to level up your hero. The Flamethrower is one of the 3 legendary skills in the game. It is a short-range, high-damaging attack with a decent duration and can quickly drain the enemy's health as long as you can aim it properly. This skill can deal almost 1000 damage per second and lasts for 5 seconds. This means, if aimed properly, it can deal about 5000 damage to anyone within its range. It is very powerful. Because this skill is so damaging, aiming it is difficult. You aim it by moving, and your hero doesn't snap quickly to change directions, but rather they move in a smooth motion, clockwise or counterclockwise. This makes it easier for enemies to get away from the flame, and this balances out this skill to ensure it isn't overpowered. The explosive mine is, as the name implies, a simple mine placed on the floor. The enemies do not see this mine. When they get close enough to it, it is triggered and explodes before they can get away. Anyone caught within the blast range is dealt 1000 damage. It doesn't have a lot of range and most likely will only catch a single enemy in its blast, and so it's not a very strong skill, but still useful in certain game modes. Your hero has to pause for about a second in order to place down the mine, so be sure you're not under fire while doing this. This mine will remain out for 35 seconds, and if it isn't triggered, it disappears. The Bullet Storm is a damage skill that is very effective against crowds. This skill is used a lot in team battles because of its wide range. This skill fires 18 bullets, each doing 200 damage. That's a total of 3600 damage being dealt. As you can see, the bullets are spread out, and so all that damage will not land on a single target. Some bullets will miss, and the player can also run outside the range of the bullets before the shooting is done. So carefully place the gun to ensure maximum damage. Your hero can move as soon as the skill is activated. The gun will remain in place until all bullets are fired. The laser is a very powerful long-range attack, but with a slim area of effect. It's among the skills with the highest cooldown at 40 seconds. Its damage is also one of the highest at about 1100 damage per second. It lasts for 5 seconds, so that's over 5500 damage if aimed properly. But there are some things you need to know about this skill. First, you cannot move while this skill is active. So, for the entire 5 seconds, you are rooted on that spot. So make sure you're in a good position before activating it. And second, this skill can only hit one target at a time. This means it's not good for crowds. An enemy can hide behind another enemy or even a loot box to avoid taking damage from this. And lastly, just like the Flamethrower, this skill uses your movement for aiming, so it's not very easy to aim. The Power Fan is a short-range, low-damage attack that hurts anyone within its range. This skill is not very effective on its own, but combined with the right skills, it becomes a skill you can use for getting guaranteed kills on enemies. It deals 164 damage per second and is active for 4 seconds. That comes to a total of about 657 total damage. This is dealt to every enemy within range. This skill also has a very high cooldown at 39 seconds. The Timer Bomb is a medium-range explosive that deals a decent amount of damage to every enemy in range. It deals 965 damage to each enemy within range. You can activate this skill at any time and it doesn't stop your hero's movement. It detonates after 3 seconds and even enemies at the very edge of the blast radius get dealt the same amount of damage. This is very good against a crowd of enemies because of its wide area of effect. The Deadly Beam is a long-range beam, as the name implies. It deals 1100 damage to any enemy within the narrow area of effect. You have to carefully aim this skill to avoid wasting it. As soon as the skill is activated, it fires in about 3 seconds. So try to calculate where you think your enemy will be in 3 seconds, or the beam could completely miss its target. This is why this beam works really well with other crowd control skills that we'll talk about soon. The final damage skill on the list is the Super Rocket. This is the attack with the highest range in the game. It can literally chase you off the screen. This is everyone's favorite rocket. It does a ton of damage and has an explosive area of effect as well. The enemy that gets hit by it gets damaged the most, but every enemy within a short range of the blast also gets dealt some damage. It is really good. First on the list for the support class is the Shield. This skill can literally save your life. For 4 seconds after activation, you will be able to absorb up to 1000 damage. Take more damage than that and your shield will be destroyed. This skill is especially useful for heroes that have a low health. The Healing Turret does exactly what it implies. It heals you and any of your teammates within its area of effect. It restores about 14% of any hero's health, and it lasts for 4 seconds. Standing in it for the entire duration restores over 50% of your hero's health. This skill is very versatile and can serve you in both team game modes and solo. Invisible is a great skill for both attacking and retreating. Once activated, your hero becomes invisible to the enemy. but also increases its speed by 50%. While activated, your hero becomes immune to all non-damage skills, which we're going to talk about very soon. Using this as an attacking option, you can quickly get in at the enemy without them seeing you coming. And as an option for retreat, you can escape tricky situations by activating this and getting away from danger. Final support skill is Ghost Fade. This is the second legendary skill in the game, and it's actually one of my favorites. It works really well with other skills, as well as with many heroes' furies. When activated, your hero zooms in the direction you've aimed within a decent radius, and you have 3 seconds to do whatever you want and press the skill button again to return to the point where you activated the skill. You should note that it also does damage. It is the only support skill that does damage. You deal 480 damage to all enemies in your path, both on your way in and out. I think it's a very good skill. Moving into the final class, Effect. The first skill on the list is the final legendary skill in the game, Meteor Slam. This skill is very useful for dealing damage to a group of enemies. It has good range and deals 558 damage to any enemy within the range of the slam. It also stuns all affected enemies for half a second. This skill has a very long cooldown of 40 seconds. The Ice Ball is definitely one of the most used skills in team modes. This is because it is very good at crowd control. It has a decent effect radius and can be used from long range. This skill does not damage enemies, but all enemies caught in the blast zone are frozen for 2 seconds. That's more than long enough for you to take them out with other skills and attacks. It can also be the perfect tool for slowing down your enemies so you can safely get away. The Droning Chain, my least favorite skill in the game, but that's probably because I haven't quite figured out a good use for it. What this skill does is that it ties 2 enemies together for about 6 seconds. Chained enemies won't be able to move away from each other, and their speed is reduced by 29%. The Rocket Plunger is a very good tool for characters with short-range attacks. It's a fast plunger with long range that stuns and pulls in your target. This skill works on both your enemies and your teammates. You can also use it to save your teammates from death. And when used on your enemies, they'll get damaged and stunned for about 2 seconds right in front of you. The Bubble Prison is one of my least favorite skills in the game. It can be pretty annoying because it works on every hero, including yours. Anyone caught within its small blast radius is trapped in a bubble for 3 seconds. The bubble cannot be broken by any attacks, and the heroes trapped in the bubbles cannot move or attack. Instead of breaking the bubble, any attack on the bubbles will only push the hero further away. There are many ways you can use this, but one common tactic is to use it in Tower to trap the enemy robot and push it farther away. Crazy Charge is another good skill for heroes with short-range attacks. This charge damages anyone in the path as you move and also stuns them for 1 second. It deals 400 damage and has medium range. It's a good way to get in quickly, or you could simply use it to retreat from a dangerous situation. I just would rather have Ghost Fade than Crazy Charge. They're very similar, but Ghost Fade has better utility in the sense that you can retreat shortly after getting in. It does slightly more damage, has better range, and also has a slightly lower cooldown than Crazy Charge. Bullet Volley is a medium-range bullet volley, as the name implies. It has very low damage, 200, but enemies hit by it have their skills disabled for a second and a half. You basically have a small window of time where you have the advantage. You don't see this skill used very often. The Toxic Fluid skill has a wide area of effect and is very good at slowing enemies down. It does do decent damage at 300 damage a second, but it only lasts 3 seconds, so it's not really meant for damage. It's just a way to slow down your enemies. This skill isn't aimed, just like the Explosive Mine. It's activated at the location of your hero, but unlike the Explosive Mine, it doesn't stop your hero from moving. Burrow is a great way to get out of incoming danger. Once activated, your hero goes underground and becomes invulnerable to all attacks. While underground, your hero's speed is increased by 30%, and enemies within the range of your movement will have their speed reduced by 30%. When you pop out of the ground, you also deal 300 damage to any enemies within range. They also get stunned for a split second, so you have the upper hand as soon as you emerge. And finally, we have the Black Hole. This is certainly one of the most used skills in the game. It works so well together with most damage skills and hero furies. It basically gives you a free shot at your enemies for 3 seconds. They get pulled into the center of the vertex, and then when the black hole disappears, it explodes and deals 350 damage to all enemies inside, and also stuns them for 1 extra second. Put simply, if you get caught in a black hole, you're probably gonna get killed if your opponents know what they're doing. Not being able to move for 4 whole seconds in this game is equal to death. Now let's take a look at very few good skill combinations that can work well with any hero you choose. The black hole works perfectly with Flamethrower, Super Rocket, Deadly Beam, and Lazer. This is because as soon as you activate Black Hole, any of these attack skills will almost always guarantee you a kill as your enemies are trapped. Ghost Fade works really well with Timer Bomb and is actually one of my favorite combinations to use. You zoom into where your enemies are gathered, drop a little present for them, then zoom back out. It's awesome. Meteor Slam works well with Power Fan and Time Bomb because after the slam, you can quickly follow up with another attack while they're stunned for a split second. Ice Ball works well with Bullet Storm and Super Rocket because enemies are usually spread out while frozen, so you can activate Bullet Storm or Super Rocket to catch every enemy currently frozen. And that's just a few good combinations. I'm sure there are many more. This covers all the skills in Thetan Arena. I hope you've enjoyed watching this breakdown. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. Always glad to see that you enjoy what we're making. And now it's over to you. What's your favorite skill in the game? What's your favorite combination? Let us know down in the comments. Thank you for watching, and even though THC is still dipping, earn on gamers, you deserve it.